All right. Good morning, everyone, and thank you for tuning in once again to South Florida Sunday with me, your host, Marian Dozier of TYSmedia.net, and as some of you know, also cocowire.net. Mayor Masters is not with us again here today, as I think I've said he won't be here again until March. But that's okay, because today we're going to talk all things MLK. And that is MLK as in the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., one of the most celebrated black leaders in the history of this country. Joining us in this discussion today will be Edith Bush, the CEO and Executive Director of the Martin Luther King Coordinating Committee in West Palm Beach, Pastor Renee Collins, who is the MLK Coordinating Committee's Vice President of the Board, and we have the event coordinator here with us, too, Elder Anthony Porter. And we thank all of them for coming because they're very, very busy. Any of y'all who know about the calendar of the Martin Luther King Coordinating Committee, you know that they are super duper busy. But we're going to talk a little bit about national history right now. And we're going to talk a little bit about local history and a lot about local events, as these three busy people are going to tell us about. So, MLK was born on January 15th, 1929, and he died, or rather was killed, on April 6th, 1968. In between that time, just 39 years, he led the infamous Montgomery bus boycott. He helped create the Southern Christian Leadership Conference. He led nonviolent protests, including the 1963 March on Washington, where he delivered the famous I Have a Dream speech. After his death in 1968, his supporters began to push for the creation of a national holiday in his name. It would take 15 years, but they got it done in 1983 when President Reagan signed a bill proposing the holiday into law, and it was first observed 3 years later, and every year since. Now, that's the national story, however short. Meanwhile, here in West Palm Beach, in 1971, an organization that would come to be known as the MLK Coordinating Committee was born as the Black Educators Caucus, focused on a remedial tutorial program for area students. By 1983, that's the year the national holiday was created, this local organization began to focus almost exclusively on Dr. King, changing its name and partnering with a variety of community and civic organizations working on educational, cultural, and social issues in the black community. Today, more than 45 years after it began, the MLK Coordinating Committee has created a month-long celebration that began a little over a week ago on January 11th with the annual kickoff service at the MLK Landmark Memorial on the Intercoastal Waterway in West Palm. Since then, there has been an MLK-related event just about every day, including at 3 o'clock today, January 20th, a gospel fest at Orthodox Zion Primitive Baptist Church, also in West Palm Beach. And there's more, lots more, all this month, and actually pretty much year-round. All of the events are free and open to the public, including today's Gospel Fest. Okay, but behind all of this, ladies and gentlemen, behind the events, the volunteers, the MLK committee members, the community leaders, the churches, the businesses, the government entities, service providers, behind all of this is one woman. And I'm looking at her, Edith C. Bush, who is one of the coordinating committee's 6 original founders. And today, though she will soon celebrate her 87th birthday, she continues her work every day, not letting up on her commitment to the simple ideal of Dr. Martin Luther King, which is to bring us all together as one community equally. Mrs. Bush?
Yes.
Pastor?
Thank you.
Porter? And Pastor Collins, thank y'all for joining us today on South Florida Sunday.
Thank
you for having us.
I appreciate y'all coming. So, Mrs. Bush, you were a longtime educator. I think you retired in the 80s, But I just wonder, why is it important to you all these years later to continue to celebrate Dr. King in such a significant way?
To our listening audience,
Yes.
I want to say thank you for supporting us.
Yay.
This is our
Yes.
38th year. And now
It's
more
amazing.
than ever, it is very important that we celebrate this anniversary or this birthday, because Dr. King,
Why? Yeah.
yes, 50 years ago he passed away, and this celebration Monday would have been his 90th birthday.
Wow.
And the issues that are occurring today is some of the same issues that occurred when we started celebrating this birthday. And so our theme this year is asking you to help us to keep the dream alive. Very important. Our theme this year is live the dream. Allow justice, peace, and love to flow like never-ending rivers. And today, being here with me today, Elder Porter and Minister Renee, they're going to tell you about the upcoming events that we're going to be having to continue the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King. Now, I was born in Alabama, 75 miles south of Montgomery, and my father went to the funeral of Dr. King. He was the president of the NAACP, and I think that's where I got my activism from.
You know, I was going to ask you that because I wondered, yeah. But you beat me to it. That's okay.
Yes, he did. He was the president of the NAACP, and he went to the funeral of Dr. King. And I guess the reason I am so into preserving our landmark memorial on Flagler is because there is a community center in Alabama named after my father.
Oh.
And so we are just, our family was a very Christian-oriented family, and then we know the civil rights movement began in the church. And so that is why we are so excited that numerous events have been held in churches. In the Emmanuel Missionary Baptist Church, in the Greater Antioch Missionary Baptist Church, in my church, the End Time Church of God in Christ.
Yes, indeed.
So it was the kickoff. And so we are just excited about that. And so that's why we are here. And we want to thank you, Marion, for keeping us on your program every year to market our events.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to say hi to our next person that can tell you some more about our next events. Elder Porter.
Yes. Today at 3 o'clock we will be celebrating Gospel Fest. And
God, listen to your voice. It's just wonderful. Do you
Thank
sing?
Yes, I do.
Wow.
And Gospel Fest
If I ever get married, I have to have you.
I got a song for
Listen,
you.
guys.
I got a song
go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
As I said, today we will be celebrating at 3 o'clock Gospel Fest at Orthodox Zion Primitive Baptist Church. And it will be at 3 o'clock. And we have an array of people that is going to be performing. I ain't going to say perform. It's going to be ministering. And dancers, singers from this area, and as far as I believe up in Port St. Lucie, I believe. So we have people that come together, and a lot of them, they love to come because they get a chance to display, minister to the people. And that's what we want.
And the wonderful name of,
And last year we did the same thing, and it went over very well. And it's imperative that you get there by 3 o'clock. We're going to start on time. Because
don't be like Marion.
We're going to start on time because we have some other stuff that we have to do afterwards. But we want everybody to enjoy themselves. This is a church setting. Now, we know that Martin Luther King was a minister. So we're still staying in the church. And the church, the last church that he spoke to was my home church. For my jurisdiction, for our ecclesiastical church. And that is Mason's Temple Church of God in Christ. So that was the last place that he spoke. So I made up in my mind, hey, I got to do this. And I didn't I had a lot of pushing from Ms. Bush.
I'm sure. We all know.
This is one person you
Edith
cannot
Bush.
say no to. You cannot say no to her. So Gospel is in my blood. So
Yeah.
I just love gospel music, and I love to help people show their ministry.
And so, were you seeking any particular type of performers? I mean, did you,
We have praise dancers. We have soloists. We have groups. We have choirs. One of our main people that's going to be singing, the last group is going to be the Gospel Messages of Faith. And many people have heard of them in this area.
Yeah.
So they're going to be, and we're dedicating this whole service to Dr. Pepe Hendricks.
And tell us who he is.
Well, I say doctor. I don't know if he had his doctor.
Yeah, I was going to say I didn't know, but I think he does have his master's.
But I called him doctor when he was still living.
Yeah.
So, but he was a young man that loved gospel music, and he loved the school.
Yeah.
He ran for the school board many times.
And in fact, that's when he died, I guess, when he
Yes, he
not.
shot.
Does that sound like I'm saying that's why he died? No.
No,
Okay.
no.
But he passed away during that run.
And he was so influential last year. His choir did the finale for us last year.
Yes,
All I did was
yes.
ask him, and he said, "Yes, I'll do it."
No
and
problem.
that's the kind of people that we need, people that are really ready to serve.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all this group is really about, serving.
Yeah.
Yes,
And so,
yes.
were you trying to find, groups that, like know about him or about Pepe Hendricks to not the same degree, but, they have a, good vibe about him in the same way that they do MLK?
Well, his group that he
Necessarily.
had before he passed away will be also singing.
Oh,
Yeah,
good.
right.
So they
Yeah.
gotten together, and they will be singing also in remembrance of him.
Yeah. So why did y'all decide to do it in honor of him? I'm just curious.
We decide.
Well, he was just,
He was
at
he
all
was
of
on
our,
the team,
at
I
all
know.
of our
But
gospel fests and all of our other events, he was just a major player. Pepe and Reverend Gamble and a few others, they just were there.
Always
We needed
there.
musical performances or to play for the children or play for. He was always there,
Mm-hmm.
and so we just think that this is the time. And we talked to his mom and his wife. And so they are very pleased at what we are doing to recognize him.
Mm-hmm.
And he really showcased our program last year, our Gospel Fest.
Yeah.
And we thought it was more than fitting to recognize him this year.
And so now I noticed that most of y'all's events are at churches or, have a lot of pastors and stuff. Is that because Martin Luther King was a minister himself, or?
Well, it sort of helps and sort of saves us financially that we that we don't have to rent a convention, an event hall or whatever.
Yeah.
And we're just so thankful for. That's when we hold some of the events at the site too. It's not expensive, but then the pastors are extremely supportive of what we're doing. And so that's why we hold it in the churches, and they don't want to turn it loose. I mean, so we just go back every year. Mm-hmm.
And then what's also cool is it's not just Christian, faith.
Right. No,
I mean,
no.
I see there's some other, religious faiths involved too.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
So, and if you attend our events, you'll see some outstanding performances of children. I mean, the whole thing is about children, and then we provide scholarships and everything like that for participants. So, yes, there are other groups that, and then the music group, the cultural part, violinists, pianists, and everything like that. The excitement that, and then it allows children to select careers when we allow them an opportunity to participate in the competitions.
So any other events that you want to point out? I know there was one that's just started last year, the South Florida Fair, that I thought was,
yes,
y'all's relationship, I guess, with the South Florida Fair started, because I guess previously they always had an MLK
Yes,
recognition.
South Florida.
I'm going to tell you about that.
Yes, South Florida Fair has always had a Martin Luther King Day.
You're right.
Last year was the first year that they collaborated with us and brought us on board to be a part of that event. So this is our second year with them, and we're very excited. We have new sponsorships. We have many students throughout Palm Beach County that will be performing again this year on
At
the community
South
stage.
Florida Fair?
So we're asking at the South Florida Fair to please come out and support these young people. The entertainment on the community stage starts at 3 p.m. We're on stage from 3 to 5.
And what day is this, Pastor Collins?
That is Monday. That is after
The 21st?
Tomorrow, the 21st.
Okay.
After the
Oh,
breakfast. So come out, leave the breakfast, go home, change clothes, or put your clothes in the car, put your running shoes on, and come out, watch these amazing students, and then enjoy the fair after. And we're just very grateful for what the South Florida Fair has allowed us to be able to do with these students.
And so, is there any extra charge in order to see the?
No, there's
MLK?
no
There's
extra
not.
charge
Okay.
in order to see the students perform. It is the community stage, so whatever the fee is to get into the park, you would pay that fee, and of
That's
course,
it.
persons who wanted to ride would buy their wristbands. I do believe that on MLK Day, however, the park does discount their prices from, I think they start at 25 and then they lower them to 20 for that day. But call South Florida Fair and find out what the admission cost is, and please come out and support this incredible young people.
And so, when the South Florida Fair called y'all, were y'all immediately interested, or were y'all kind of like, wait a minute now?
I'll tell you what happened.
That was something to
I'll tell
jump
you how
on.
we got
Exactly how that
Oh,
occurred. But
yes,
you jumped at the
yes,
chance.
yes, yes.
Oh, yeah.
There were members of the Black Chamber of Commerce who had
This is
talked
Mrs.
to,
Bush.
and the South Florida Fair people wanted someone to help them celebrate Dr. King's
Wow.
birthday. So the members of the Black Chamber of Commerce says, "Oh, I know a group that you can get, and they will make you look good."
Okay, not a group.
The group.
And they came and met with us, and so when we went to the Florida Fair last year, the praise dancers were awesome.
Wow.
The violinists were awesome. The faith-based students under Noble Lockhart were awesome. And so, and then there was a display of the art. They allowed us to have
Art?
a portable with art. Anna Ruth Nelson displayed her art out there. And then we had
didn't
an
know about
area to
that.
sell our products, like our T-shirts and our cups that have, when you pour water in them, they're either Dr. King, Mandela, President Obama.
Really?
Yes. And so
I didn't know
we
y'all
had,
sell
and
stuff.
then they allowed us to have 4 floats in the parade. We were on the stage from 3 o'clock to 5. And after 5 o'clock, 5:30, they said, okay, we want you to join us in the parade from 6 to 7 o'clock. So, of course, we had, once the kids performed, we had to find someone to get in the floats because they were going on the rides.
Of course.
I couldn't blame them. But this year, and so after last year, they said, oh, my goodness to me, will they come back this year, in 2019? And
Yeah.
so we, thanks to Keely Taylor of the Post and Bruce Lewis of the Black Chamber, they got us stuck in the South Florida Fair. But it was awesome. We had some, and our young man who spoke last year was almost like a mini Dr. King. He said the I
Yes,
Have a
he
Dream
was.
speech, and he received standing ovations.
When
and
you did
that's
that, I have a dream.
The whole
Yeah.
thing.
Really?
All of the whole speech. And
Wow.
the
And he's like a
awesome-
little boy.
Oh, yeah.
Y'all-
And you got to hear the other one we got this
Oh,
year.
yes. He's in
My
kindergarten.
goodness me.
So why does Martin Luther King have so much relevance still?
Well,
You got little kids who are like 4 years old and know the entire I Have a Dream speech.
Well, you've
Why
got
is-
parents and mentors that really encourage them, and they notice the skills that these children have,
Yeah.
and then they push them and promote them. And if you come to some of our events, and especially the breakfast,
Yeah.
come to the breakfast, and that's another thing I want to talk about a
Oh.
little later on.
Okay.
Come to the breakfast and hear some of these kids, because then once you attend our events and hear them and see them performing and playing instruments and everything like that, then the next place you go to or an event, you see them on a stage because you have supportive parents, guardians that encourage them to perform. And so that's what that's what it's all about. Yes.
But why do you think he's still relevant after all these years? We've already got the national holiday done. You know, why are we still sort of celebrating him to this degree?
Well, you want to say
Pastor Collins?
I just believe it's because everyone has a dream.
Yeah.
And while his dream truly flourishes within all of us when it comes to peace and justice and equality, that all of us have that same dream. Of being a part of that. And so for young people and the things that they experience today with injustice, with inequality, I think it resonates even more. And so parents and grandparents are making sure that their children learn about Dr. King and the impact that he had on us socially, the impact that he had on us spiritually. And we want to continue that legacy on, and we cannot allow it to die, because that's our future. And as long as our nation continues in the path in which it's going, we're always going to have issues of peace and justice and love that we have to bring to the forefront. So we're just bringing up new soldiers.
And the thing is, you have to know your history. Because if you don't know your history, you'll just keep going backwards and forwards and not knowing what's really there. So they're looking into the history so they won't make the same mistakes that was back there then. But when we learn it, we don't have to worry about repeating the same habits. Because once you know it, you say, okay, I'm not going to go that way because it's not right, so I'm going to go this way. And nowadays, as you said, today, it is like we took 10 steps backwards from what we originally started with. But as she said, everybody has a dream, and we should all help each other reach their dreams. It's not like you're pushing everybody down, but you got to lend a hand to pull somebody up. And if everybody had that mentality of helping pull somebody up, there will be peace, there will be justice, and most of all, they got to be loved.
And you know, when we were coming up in days of segregation and all that kind of stuff, you know, we saw examples of racial hatred that was skin deep. And then now a little bit, it's almost to the veins and to the blood. And then now it's even getting worse. It's hatred to the bones almost. So it's just, you know, and we've got to show the world that we're not going to go back. I mean, where have we come from? Some children, I was in the class the other day, and I told the kids, I say, when I was growing up, there was a segregated school, and they had 4 restrooms, one for the colored man, and one for the colored lady, and the white lady, and the white man, and then now they got one restroom for everybody. And they looked at me like I was crazy. So we've got to continue to tell them where we came from and what happened. And then this is why the celebration is so terribly important. We have just got to stay. We're tired, all of us, those who were marching and everything like that, tired, but we can't stop.
Are you seeing more people kind of show up and wanting to get involved and sort of say, you know what, we cannot have, you know, some of what is going on in this country right now? Are you seeing more people wanting to, you know, get on the team?
Well, you know, I think that the church has to do more. Our church has to do more, because then if you see the evangelicals on the other side, they are literally supporting what's going on. You know, and then and some, I hate to say it, some of our people going along, right, you know, just supporting them. But our people, those of us who know, you know, what the situation is, we've got to get out there and keep on fighting and show these kids and tell them, you know, what's happening. I mean, because then the system is now, instead of saying, oh, he's disciplining his child, no, they say you're abusing your child. That's not true. You know, if you spank your child, you are disciplining them. So sometimes the system is at fault with how we do things. So we've got to raise. You know, I was raised up in a Christian family and everything like that, and so that's what we've got to do. We've got to go back to the Bible, you know, and then say, well, this is you know, hatred is not right.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, Pastor Collins.
We see more student involvement again, similar to the Young People's March in Alabama in the 60s, due to gun violence. So because of gun violence in schools and in our communities, we see a surge of students wanting to participate in equality and justice because of the inequalities that
That's
they actually
happening.
see. So I'm really proud of the fact that we see more young people wanting to get involved, and we're hearing their voices more than what we did, say, maybe 5-10 years ago. That they're really out there in the forefront trying to make a difference. They're letting their voices being heard more.
Yeah, which is really important. Yeah.
And this, you know, what you're doing with us, Marion, is very important because the media, it's very disappointing that we don't have a newspaper of our own. If you notice the Tulsa Wall Street, the first thing they
the
destroyed,
Black Wall Street?
the Black Wall
Yeah.
Street. The first thing they destroyed was the
newspaper.
The Little Rock Nine, Daisy Bates' husband, owned a newspaper company, and so that is where we are limited, and we appreciate you for giving us this opportunity to expose the need, the continuing need to push what the civil rights movement was all about. And our speaker, Mrs. Renee Green. Is that what I'm saying? Renetta Green.
Oh, for the scholarship breakfast.
For the breakfast.
Yeah, we haven't
Yes.
even talked about the breakfast.
Yes.
When is that coming? That's going to be that's tomorrow.
Yes. Yeah, the 21st.
Uh-oh.
Renetta Green. You want to talk about her?
Doors open at 7:30. I'd like to say that first of all.
7:30 a.m. in the morning.
Yes, 7:30
Yes.
a.m. Breakfast starts 8 a.m. sharp. But Dr. Renetta Green is a pastor and a human rights activist.
And
She's
a
been
white
on
lady.
CNN, yes, and a pastor of an African
AME
American
church,
Episcopal
yeah.
church. Yes.
Yeah, she sounds like an interesting package.
Yes.
Well,
she
CNN calls her the protesting pastor.
That's right.
Because she's from the state of Missouri. And Ferguson, Missouri, remember?
Oh, right.
Yes.
Was
she protested
Yes,
there.
very much so.
And the I Can't Breathe, she was there. And other protesters, she was there, yes.
Okay, so
we are-
what's her backstory?
Go ahead,
What is
go
she? Why is she so committed to? Can I say that to our issues or?
I think it's not a color thing to
No.
most pastors and ministers. It's a human thing.
Okay, that's right.
Well, unless you
just
support
it's-
our orange
just-
president.
Just like it's one
Okay,
race.
that's a whole different set
There's
of.
only one race that we benefit, and
That's
that's the
right.
human
Human
race.
race.
It has
Exactly.
it's not red, yellow, black, brown, or white. It's
or
just
orange.
We say judge a person by the content of the
The
character.
character, that's
See,
right.
We believe that, and
Yes,
not by the color of
wholeheartedly.
the skin. See, that's what Dr. King said. You know, judge a person by the content of the character.
But
It's
I am
not-
that
we
every
believe it.
minister or
Yeah.
every person that's a clergy believes in the human race.
Yeah.
You know, that we are one, that we are brothers and sisters. So the idea of race, such as Elder Porter said, is really eliminated because our fight is about equality and justice.
Justice.
All the things that are even listed in our theme
Yeah.
this year: love, justice, peace, unity. All those things are biblical based, and that's what our organization is about, and that's what most pastors also believe. Or
But I
clergy
think
believe
we've
as
gotten
well.
away from that, though. I think a lot of people, and maybe it is because of our orange president,
Well,
I don't know, but a lot of people do.
There are some people that have strayed away, but it's in the back of their mind.
Yeah.
They can't forget it. So we're just looking to draw them back in. That's the thing. But we can't not let just one person mess up the whole. It says only take one bad apple to spoil the whole bunch. No, just pick them out and throw them out.
Hey,
Just
amen.
leave the apples there.
I
so
think
when
I'm
somebody
gonna
can
add
just
that
take,
to the
That's what I'm
take the
looking
wrong
to.
one out and put it in the garbage.
That's right. That's right.
But I do like that y'all
Yeah.
do include.
And that's what this organization is
Yeah,
about.
it is.
And so for us, for every member, for every participant, that's our belief that it's the human race. So it's not just the clergy that are involved. It's Mrs. Bush. It's all the members. It's all of the kids that are involved. We all have the same fight.
Yeah.
And it's a good fight, but we all have the same fight that we're fighting for: love.
Even
and
with the
equality
peace
and
camp.
justice.
Yeah, the
Even
peace
with
And
the
see,
camp,
yeah,
right,
no,
yeah.
we've only got like 2 minutes left, but I did want to. Yeah, I know that, as I said in the beginning, there's lots of events that y'all have year round, including the Peace and Pencil Camp.
Yeah.
Right?
But I want to say this: we are going to recognize at our breakfast youth groups Suits for Seniors under Javante
Edmonds.
Yes.
He's been on the show before. God bless him.
That's for the young men.
Yes.
The girls, Empower Her
Oh,
with
I like them
Janine
too.
Westar.
Yep.
We're going to recognize her. We're going to we have sponsors of young men that's going to help in the breakfast. The Beta Boys with the Phi Beta Sigma boys.
Okay.
The Bethune-Cookman debutante girls. The Men of Tomorrow, who's Alpha Phi
the
Alpha.
Alphas.
And we are we are showcasing young people.
Very youth
And
focused.
it is going to be an exciting
Yes, it
breakfast.
is. Oh,
It
yes.
really
Wow.
is.
Is it too late to get tickets? Can people still get tickets and come? Or?
No, just go on the
Go
website www.mlkccpbc.org
Okay.
or call 561-832-4682. And adults are $45 and children are $25.
Yes.
Students, yes.
And then if you did not catch that, ladies and gentlemen, you can always go onto cocowire.net
Cocowire.
and look on the calendar items for January 21st, and everything is there, including a link to what Mrs. Bush just gave y'all.
Can we give Cocowire a hand?
Yeah,
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Oh my God, now I'm blushing. At least I'm not having a hot flash though. And on that note, we have finished our 30 minutes, ladies and gentlemen.
Well,
God
we
bless
really
y'all.
appreciate
Thank you.
Golly.
so much.
And if y'all want any more information about what the Martin Luther King Coordinating Committee is doing here in Palm Beach County, just go onto their website, like Mrs. Bush said, or visit cocowire.net, because they have a whole lot of things going on nearly every day this month,
Yeah.
and then going through the rest of the year, including, and I didn't get to ask y'all about this, they're taking a bus to the Zora Neale
Yes.
Hurston
Yes.
Festival.
Yes,
Up in
Zora Neale
Eatonville.
Hurston.
February
Yes.
the 2nd.
That's huge.
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but thank y'all for coming on, Edith Bush,
We'll be back.
you for having
Elder
us.
Porter, Madam Collins, and thank y'all for tuning in, ladies and gentlemen, to South Florida Sunday once again. I appreciate it. Marion Dozier of TYS Media. Hopefully, I will see you guys at the big event this afternoon at 3, the Gospel Fest
Yes.
at Orthodox Zion Missionary Baptist Church.
Yes,
yes.
And then tomorrow at the annual scholarship breakfast at the Palm Beach County Convention Center.
Yes.
Y'all have a good Sunday.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you.
Bye.